Two major reasons. Number one, statistically, there's a big need. And then secondarily, emotionally. So to attack the first one statistically, no secret, our baby boomer population, they continue to age. And this market is in the biggest need and most underserved, which we'll talk about today. The fact is that most gyms and fitness centers are focusing on 20s and 30 somethings to get six pack abs. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that's not where the true need lies. This baby boomer 60 plus demographic has a different need for fitness, but it's stronger in my professional opinion, meaning as we get older, you need more strength, more mobility, and strength is the single factor in long-term longevity and wellness. So statistically, there's a big need. And then also emotionally, I had a deep emotional impact or connection with my grandma in my youth. My siblings and I, my mom escaped my father for an unhealthy environment back in the late 80s, early 90s. And we lived with my grandma for the better part of a decade. And to her credit, she lived until 91 years old. And that deeply affected me. And I saw how she was mobile, she was strong. And back in 2012, when I was looking to open a business, I had sales experience, but I didn't have marketing or operational experience. And I liked the support of a franchise system. But everywhere I looked, there were, baby boomer concepts that were, older people's homes, dialysis centers. They were adding years to life, but not life to years. So I decided when I was going through that research to just scrap that and go towards my passion of fitness. And I did that. And I scaled 5 locations as a franchise partner in 2012 before I joined our HQ team, now serving as our CEO. And to kind of put a bow on this, in 2015, I attended a conference founded by 2 doctors of the Functional Aging Institute, and they talked about this big opportunity and a model on how to train the older adult. So emotionally it clicked, statistically it clicked, and that was really the birth of our Fit Body Forever program. I'll kind of talk about within our own brand first, the difference between Fit Body Bootcamp and then Fit Body Forever. Fit Body Bootcamp is designed for adults over the age of 40, and Fit Body Forever is designed for adults over the age of 60. They're similar programs in the sense they're functional fitness. I like to say they're cousins, but they're not siblings. So mid-intensity strength training is where Fit Body Forever lies, where Fit Body Bootcamp is more focused on high-intensity interval training. So for our older adults, it's mid-intensity and more focused on strength. Even though in Fit Body Bootcamp, we still offer strength, it's more high intensity. So that's where the similarities lie in terms of just overall functional fitness, but the, different niches between the two programs, with Fit Body Forever being more mid-intensity and more strength focus. Also, Fit Body Forever has 40-minute sessions is when we conduct because there's a little bit more time for mobility. We want to ease our clients into the workout routine of the day, where Fit Body Bootcamp, it's more high intensity, so they're shorter sessions of 30 minutes. And again, Fit Body Forever are more slower intensity and focused on strength and mobility, just to really hit that point home. How are they different from other programs? Our competitors, well, there's not a lot of competing offers, which is a blue ocean strategy. I know we'll talk about that today. So that's a very unique opportunity for us for the Fit Body Forever program. But I would say, and there's no, this is not a knock on other programs, but there's this common misconception that, older people are frail and they can't work on strength training. And that's just not true at all. So our program definitely differs because we are not afraid to provide that strength training to really make our clients strong over the course of time and focus on mobility. So that's a unique differentiator between Fit Body Forever, both within our program, between Fit Body Bootcamp, and then outside competitors. We start with a more thorough assessment. So there's a screening application on the front end. There's also a screening call, and then we bring in all of our Fit Body Forever candidates for a long hour orientation where we do a 30-minute mobility and then assessment afterwards. So different than Fit Body Bootcamp, where it's just more of a direct path to entry in our program. Before we start with Fit Body Forever clients, most other programs are scared to be able to provide that strength and resist training. We're not. We know that the older adult needs strength even more so in their older years than they do in their younger years for different reasons. But we want to make sure that we have that assessment process in the front end just to make sure that we're doing the proper screening, we're doing the proper assessment in the front end. And then once we onboard them in the program, it's typically a 28-day trial so they can ease into the formal long-term benefit of our program. The first 10 minutes are very much focused on warming up the body, getting mobility, and then we ease into the strength training component, which takes about a solid 20 minutes. And in the back end of the session, we do another cool down with a mobility focus. So it kind of is slow on the front end, mid-intensity with strength focus in the middle, and then it slows down to mobility as the session winds down. I think there's two major reasons, and they actually came from additional concepts created by doctors and their research. There was a book that came out 20 years ago called Blue Ocean Strategy, which really just talked about, from a business concept, most companies that go after product, services, or demographics in these red, bloody oceans, using that analogy of like shark-infested waters, where really the business opportunity lies in moving to different part of the ocean, if you will, underneath, where there's a blue ocean, plenty of fish. And that's really the essence of Fit Body Forever. Again, going back to the point, it's not a sexy program compared to other programs where, other programs are more focused, and a lot of the industry is focused on super young, 20 something, 30 something, six-pack abs, skinny jeans, etc. And there's nothing wrong with that. But our program, it's not nearly as sexy to market to and train an older adult, but I would say it's super fulfilling, and there's not as many competitors. So it's way more of a blue ocean strategy. The other aspect at play, and I read a book a couple years ago called Bright Spot by Dan and Chip Heath. So the Heath brothers, who are well-credentialed authors. And there was a lot of concepts in the book, but one of the main concepts around Bright Spot is human nature, and leaders and business owners, we're just wired to look for the problems. Okay, what are the problems in your business, and then how can we solve those, or how can we fix those by like really beating on the problem? And this Bright Spot strategy came from the opportunity that instead of focusing on what's wrong, focus on what's right and then replicate that. So we launched Fit Body Forever a couple years before COVID. Unfortunately, COVID put a hold on that, hold on the world, but specifically our program. And it was also the version 1 of that, where we relaunched the program, and we actually took it as an opportunity to build more foundation in the program. We relaunched it end of 2021 into 2022. And what we saw was that program had a lot of traction to it, is extremely fulfilling. And in 2024, when we looked at the data from the previous 2 years, it blew our minds. We realized that the average Fit Body Bootcamp owner that was hosting and running a Fit Body Forever program did over $200,000 in gross sales annually than the ones without it. So a big light bulb went on. That's our bright spot. So we knew that it was a blue ocean strategy, but then looking at the data, it was a bright spot in our business. So that really showed us this is a huge opportunity to continue what we're doing and even put more focus on it in the years ahead. A common misconception about older adults that they're frail, you're going to break them, they can't work on strength training, and that's just false. Older adults, they can do strength training, and they need it more. So yes, they have to have deeper assessments. Yes, they have to have a slower onboarding. They have to have a slower session pace. They also have to have more coaching with fewer clients per coach, but they can handle the progression, they can handle the load. And strength training, mid-intensity, is really the focus of the program and what they need, and they can progress with time. Going back to the guardrails question, with the first truth just said, yeah, the second truth is a 65-year-old can't do what a 40-year-old can do. So in terms of the high intensity, high impact burpees, big jumping, it's hard on the knees, hard on the joints. We stay away from that. So we really stay away, and the guardrails are, again, against high intensity. The big explosive cardio movements are things that we focus on with Fit Body Forever, Fit Body Bootcamp clientele. We need to put some guardrails around Fit Body Forever so we can focus on what they truly need, which is mid-intensity strength. We did a big data pool in 2020 or in Q1 of 2025 assessing our 2024 data, and we actually found that with our main program, Fit Body Bootcamp, our demographic tilted older than we even thought. We thought our average clientele was in their late 30s, early 40s. As it turns out, our average Fit Body Bootcamp client is north of 47 years old. And we also then found out that our average Fit Body Forever client wasn't late 50s like we were originally marketing to. The average Fit Body Forever client was in their mid to late 60s, north of 66 years old. So we realized as a brand, there's a huge opportunity to brand ourselves and market ourselves who we truly are, which is a program, a fitness franchise catered to serving adults over the age of 40. So that's the foundation of our franchise. But as we look ahead, we've also seen and we've also made projections based on our current data that Fit Body Forever is a wave of the future. It's not going to be a side program like it was created for. It's going to be a bread and butter program. So we anticipate over the next 24 to 36 months that 50% of our location's revenue will come from Fit Body Forever, and 50% will come from our original offering, Fit Body Bootcamp, with about a 45% client split between Fit Body Forever, because we're able to charge more for Fit Body Forever because it's a higher coaching type of program, where 55% of our clients will reside in our original vision of Fit Body Bootcamp. So all this to say is, as the next few years take hold, the next 24 months to 36 months, we see Fit Body Forever being a major staple in our franchise system, and 50% of our revenue and 45% of our clientele. There's definitely an education piece on why strength training is important, but there's not as much resistance as you think. Where a 20 or 30 or even 40-year-old is focused on more of the aesthetic look, like they want to look better in their jeans, this population, they feel it in their bones. They can't go on walks anymore. They can't play with their grandkids. In fact, we have an incredible testimony from two older adults in Southern California that they went on this vacation and they were so disappointed and actually sad and frustrated because they couldn't go on any of the activities. So their body legitimately wouldn't hold up. They couldn't go on any walks. They couldn't go on any hikes. They were gassed. So because of that, there's a physical limitation of their physicality, which is different, and it shows up very differently than someone that's a bit younger. So there's a higher feeling of pain. So because there's a higher feeling of pain, this type of clientele, while they need education, they're way more susceptible to the education because they realize their body is not functioning the way it did. So they're more open to the feedback and more open and receptive to the strength training component of our program.